with
Nantuko Husk is this guy's best friend.
right
But
Nantuko Husk and no, what was the card? Eldrazi Displacer and Brood Monitor. That's
yeah.
what this belongs in. Boom, we did it. We did it right. So
um,
we've made an infinitely large Bloodbriar in
yeah.
standard. So,
So
anyways,
3 mana, 2/3. It's good. So
it's probably like a C or a C minus.
I don't even know if I go as high
I
as C. Probably just straight C minus.
I don't know, like because
We don't
especially
have,
if you consider clues, that counts as a permanent.
yeah, but we don't have clues in this
We
set.
have
So
we have one third the amount of clues as we used to.
yeah, that's a lot less clues.
There's a lot less clues, but this isn't one of the colors that makes clues, so there's that,
That's
right?
true. We still have that pump spell that made clues and all that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
the whatever the 3 mana.
And there's especially in black there are a lot of sacrifice effects. Like there's a card that you sacrifice a creature and you discard a card and it deals -13 things.
I'm just comfortable at having a C minus because if it's not a 3/4, like 3 mana for 3/4 is where I want it to be,
Yeah.
it's most of the time it's not going to be that.
This card just screams to me that there's a deck for it. Like why
It
would they
does.
print this if there isn't a deck that could make this really good? You know?
I think that people just generally like this effect though, so uh,
That's
uh,
true. Tell you what, why don't we give it a build around grade? Because I agree, I'm not happy to main deck this if I don't have if I don't have some focused way to help it sacrifice things.
mhm. uh,
So, what do you think?
as a build around, I think it's going to be like a B probably.
Build arounds like C+/B minus.
Yeah, because like, you're gonna be able to get probably a couple of these. I don't know how high.
Great if you have lots of sack theme. Mediocre/bad otherwise.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if it had trampolines,
Emerge, good point, yeah.
merge is
green is one of the colors that has emerge.
true. True.
But most of the emerge creatures are uncommon or rare.
Yeah.
I think there's only like 2 or 3 at common. So
in green.
well, I'm talking all the colors because if
Yeah.
you're playing this, you're probably in Sultai colors, right?
Right, yeah.
Almost certainly. So, anyways, clear shot. 2 and a green. This card is bananas. Target creature instant, by the way. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control.
Yeah, it's not a fight. This is not a fight.
This is not a fight. This is just straight damage. It's like Rabbit Bite, but better. This is way better than Rabbit Bite, right?
I mean, the +1/+1.
+1/+1 and an instant.
Yeah.
This is so good.
I'm quite happy with this effect.
Yeah, this and by the way, there's a one card or 2 card combo with this. Let me pull it up. It is with the Lone Rider. You remember that one?
to gain life and then
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
This is a 2 card combo on curve with Lone Rider, and let me pull up Lone Rider for people that might not have seen this card. So Lone Rider is
2 mana
a
for 1/1.
2 mana 1/1 first strike lifelinker, which probably doesn't make the cut unless you have some way to abuse its flip. Because at the beginning of the end step, if you gain 3 or more life, transform it, boom, it becomes a 4/4 first strike trample lifelink. Wow, that's really good. So that's if you have 2 clear shots, you're probably playing a Lone Rider, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's only up ways to flip it. It's just such a
Because think about this: after a clear shot, what's really blocking a 2/1 first striker after using clear shot?
I mean,
right?
more importantly, like you can hack into it, use this at instant speed just to clear up something, like with 4 toughness, right?
Yeah.
So whoever they're
Yeah,
blocking
that
this
too.
with is just gonna get eaten.
Yep.
And then you're still gonna get a flip.
Right. So I just want to mention that as like one particular interaction to look out for. Like if you have clear shots and you have a Lone Rider in your board, or you're like thinking about whether to put Lone Rider in, I think that this might put it over the edge. And just remember that this is an instant.
Yeah. So the fact that it works very well with any first strike abilities,
Yeah.
it's worth keeping in mind.
Yep. This card's very, very strong.
I think it's better than that.
Yeah. So the question is, how does it rate compared to other removal? It's definitely B range. I don't know. I don't think it hits A minus quite, but it's like B plus maybe. This is stupid good.
Yes, I agree with that. B plus.
The fact that it needs a creature on the board that's of relevant size to kill something big does hurt it a little bit, but that's not
If it has
that
Death Touch,
hard.
it also works.
Okay, or Death Touch, or Derp Touch.
Derp
Oh wait,
Touch.
no, that's combat damage only.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
So
we'll get to the derp touch later when we get to permeating mass.
Yeah.
I think this is like a B+. I'm probably first picking this unless there's murder in the pack.
Yeah. Very easy to cast, in green. It's just one green. And it's good at any point in the game, basically. Even in the early game, you probably...
You think it's a C, Rufus? You are insane. This card is way better than C range.
Why is it a combat trick? It's just straight up removal.
If you say that this is a C+, you're saying that you would take that shock over this. And you're saying that you'd take just a lot of, like, good but not absurd cards. This card is very, very, very strong.
I agree that there are ways that you can get blown out. Like if you have they have murder, then you're going to be blown out. But there are not that many instant speed removal spells that make clear shot bad. So much of the time it's just straight up.
Now, one thing that's worth remembering is that, and this is a trap that I fall into sometimes, it's worth remembering that if the card has instant written on it, you don't have to use it as an instant.
Yes, you definitely. I've definitely seen people pass the end of the turn, see their opponent's upkeep, and suddenly they're wait.
Right, like if you're worried about getting blown out, well, okay then, don't just cast it on your turn when they don't have mana up, or wait till they tap out to cast it. Like you could, the fact that it's an instant is strict upside over it being a sorcery. Just remember, the fact that it's an instant gives you a lot more ways to play around a Rabid Bite effect, and this is, if you consider one mana worth of +1/+1, this is like almost just straight better.
Oh yeah, this is just straight good.
Yeah, like would you take Rabid Bite or Clear Shot as a sorcery? What would you take?
Oh, I think I take Rabid Bite over Clear Shot as a sorcery. Yeah.
Probably, yeah, but it'd be close, wouldn't it? And in certain situations, you'd still rather have Clear Shot.
I think it's close but clear to me. I think the 2 mana
I agree with that.
+1/+1 are just not super relevant if it's just pay 1 mana, get +1/+1. There's just so much more efficient to be able to cast.
But the thing that Rabid Bite can never do is blow out an opponent's combat trick.
Agreed.
That's something it can never do. Whereas Clear Shot, this can.
Yeah. Having instant speed removal is so very strong because there aren't that many instant speed removal cards in the set.
Yeah, Rufus, remember that it deals damage. It's not a fight. It's removal that is dependent on having a creature, but it just deals damage. It's like you're using your creature to lightning bolt your opponent's creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, provided you have a creature in play, it will deal like 3 or 4 damage.
Right. So, assuming your opponent doesn't bounce a creature or remove it or something. But...
Right. And there are very few effects that do that. And there's
yeah. Well, and you have to be smart, but yeah, that's true of all these effects. Anyways, let's keep going. We talked about this a lot. All right.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. Crop Sigil, 1 mana for an enchantment. And it says, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put the top card of your library into your graveyard. So it better have some more text, and it does. It says, Delirium, 2 and a green, sacrifice it, return up to 1 target creature and up to 1 target land from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this... Oh, right, just Delirium, yeah.
Yep.
So, interesting. So this is like a delayed restock? Or was that the card's name?
This compares to a Vessel, right? It compares to Vessel of Nascency.
Yeah, that's probably the best comparison lately.
So Vessel of Nascency, the effect is slightly different because you're not looking from the top, right? Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't just straight up enable right away.
I think the best way to think about this is as a build around card. Remember that this is card advantage. Mm-hmm. You are getting 2 cards from 1 card. Now, granted, one of those cards is a land, which, for better or for worse, like sometimes maybe you have like a spell land or something, but generally the land isn't super relevant. But maybe you have a way to discard cards, right? And having that land is going to be useful in your hand. Who knows? Yeah. Either way, it is card advantage, and it is an enabler.
Yes.
So like the 2 of those combined make me think that if you're playing a Delirium deck, you're gonna want one of these. It
just feels off the top. The fact that it doesn't itself put an enchantment into the graveyard makes it slightly worse than Vessel.
It definitely does, but it gets 1 card into your graveyard every turn. It's just probably best in green-black with a bunch of zombies that like to be in the graveyard. But
right. So if you compare with Vessel of Nascency, I think if you think about it that way, it's worse, right? Because
right. Yeah.
Vessel would put 5 cards. It puts 5 cards in your graveyard. Wait. This will take 5 turns to do that, which is way slow.
I would definitely take Vessel of Decency over this, but I would probably take this over Life from the Loam in a deck that's not splashing. And I think that many Delirium decks would still play Life from the Loam to get Delirium. Or not Life from the Loam. Fuck, what am I talking about? Fork in the Road. Why do I confuse those two cards? I guess they have the same exact number of letters in them and the same syllables.
Life from the Loam would also enable Delirium.
That's true. What the fuck am I talking about, though? Chat needs to put some what faces in there. Because I just sort of like spouted off about a random card for a long time. But sorry about that, chat. Anyways, I don't know. Let's give this a build around C. I think this is very playable, but you have to be specifically Delirium.
Yeah. I mean, it is slow. It is worth noting that it's slow, but the fact that it's cheap and you can discard it as an enchantment means that it is probably going to be relevant in Delirium decks.
Yeah, lots of decks would play Life from the Loam. Yeah, Life from the Loam would be busted in this format. I'm saying build around C, not just straight C Caldinus.
Yeah, you don't play
yeah, you're definitely playing this in one deck in the format, but it's pretty good in that deck, I think.
The thing about Fork in the Road is, if you have Fork in the Road in hand and you have a discard outlet, you can't discard that to get your enchantment for Delirium, right?
What's up?
Can't. Snow Shorts is comparing this to Fork in the Road, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that often you're in a Delirium deck, you're gonna have discard cards that are gonna try to turn on Delirium. This is an enchantment, which is a pretty relevant type for Delirium. Mm-hmm. And just having that in your deck just also means that it makes it easier to get it.
It is true. Those sorceries, I'd say, are also, in this format, honestly, about as rare as sorceries. Or enchantments. Because there are a lot of enchantments, especially in Delirium decks.
That's true.
So, anyways, let's keep going. Crossroads Consecrator, 1 mana for 1/2 Human Cleric, which you can pay 1 green mana and tap it to give an attacking human +1/+1.
I don't know how relevant human is. That's the real problem with this card. I'm seeing like maybe half the green cards seem to be human, less than half, maybe about half, third of the creature cards seem to be humanish.
Mm-hmm. Hang on, by the way, I'm trying to. Motor Grinder's going to be joining in, so.
That'll be nice.
I'm trying to search for him while we're talking. There we go. I think I found him.
So I think what we're thinking about is, suppose this ability was to target attacking human, like if it was just target attacking creature, gets +1/+1 from the turn. Mm-hmm. How good is that? 1 mana.
That'd be pretty good. I mean, that'd be Anointer of Champions, right? Basically, though Anointer would still be better.
Yeah.
So like this is almost strictly worse than Anointer of Champions.
Right.
So then the question is like, how many humans do you need to make this good enough?
Right.
In fact, this is just strictly worse, right? Except for the 2 toughness and the fact that it's green.
2 toughness is probably less relevant.
Anointer costed 1 mana. No, it's a 1 drop.
Okay.
Yeah, I play it in red-white aggro in standard. It's like Anointer was busted because it just broke combat. But this isn't nearly as good. This is definitely a build around. Like, you're not going to play this unless you have like probably 10 other humans. I'd say ish.
Yeah.
It's
so
probably
not
like a good
you have
target.
To have 10 other humans. They have to be humans that are there to attack. Like if it's a human that taps to tap things, that's much worse, right?
Yeah.
Like.
And there are humans that tap to tap. There is one that taps non-humans.
Right.
Oh, but it's non-humans specifically. It's kind of funny.
But if you're playing with humans, you have to be saying this is a human and it is a combat human, and how many of those you need, I'm not entirely sure, but you probably need at least like 8 or 9. I think.
Hey,
how's it going?
Hey, how are you doing?
So we've brought in.
Coming through?
Yeah, we've brought in another person. So Chad, this is Noah Sandler, also known as Moto Grinder, who is probably one of the best Moto players in the world, at least, right? Or at least at one point. At one point, you were number 1.
No, I've never been number 1.
Right? Didn't you have over 2,000 rating at one point?
Yeah. I've done
there's
that
no
twice,
way you
but
weren't
they
number 1.
They didn't have a Hall of Champions at that point, so I had no way.
Yeah, but there's statistically there's almost no way you weren't number 1 at that point.
Probably.
Like, I don't think there's like at any one point in time there's probably not someone who's rated over 2,000 on Magic Online. So
it's hard to say. These days, it's probably a lot harder to get than it used to be. But back in the
that
day,
might be
there
true.
used to be like multiple people with accounts that high. So
yeah.
Two
Okay.
Tank Two Tank Clan went above 2,000 when he beat LSV.
What's
The
that?
monks. Two Tank Clan went up above 2,000 when he beat LSV in the monks.
Yeah, and I know.
Yeah,
Kenji has been there before.
yeah, there's a lot of like big sealed events like mocks and stuff that has high K value.